Hey everyone, my name is Jess and welcome to the Gold Coast Art School YouTube channel. Today is a bit of a part 2. If you haven't seen last week, it was all about erasers, which might sound a bit dull, but these little things here can be changed. There's all sorts of different erasers that you can use for your work, and we've had a bit of a chat about them. Today, we're going to be talking about hair. How can you draw hair? And we're going to be using an eraser that we modified last week in today's tutorial. So let's get on with it. So I have actually gone ahead and just done a little bit of work already, but I want to talk you through what's going on here, how we can fix this, and what needs to be done to add life. So of course, there is all different kinds of hair, okay? There's so much, look at mine. I've got a lot of it. It's kind of a little bit crazy at the moment. But hair can be changed depending on the kind of person that you're drawing. And you can also change a lot about it depending on the context and the light source and things like that. On a very basic level, we're just going to deal with someone with straight hair. Number one tip is actually to consider the shape of the head. I realized we have the perfect little thing to show you to talk about this. Here you go. It's not an actual skull. I mean, that would be kind of cool also maybe, but here's a skull. This is this, okay guys? So if you're looking at this skull, you can see that it is quite a circular shape. And then it has the jaw hanging off that shape, that sphere there, okay? And on your drawings, it's kind of the same thing. You need to keep in mind that it is a round shape. I'm just going to use a red pencil here just to sort of highlight this a bit for you. And if you've watched my drawing video with 7 drawing tips before, then you'll know, oh yeah, she's doing her like sketchy style of drawing. That's how she kind of sketches, okay? Here we go. You can see here that this is a general shape of the skull, okie dokes, and the hair, it comes out of that shape. Now, if you're drawing crazy wild anime characters like Dragon Ball Z characters, then they've got wild hair. It just goes absolutely everywhere when they're going Super Saiyan. But generally speaking, your hair's not going Super Saiyan, okay? It generally comes out from the skull and goes down, okay? Comes up and falls down. Back to the drawing here, you can probably see I've shaded in a lot of the hair here, and let's be real, it's not great. There's a lot of things wrong with it. Number one is the way that I've shaded it in. It's like I've just gone at whatever angle that I want. I'm not really paying attention to the flow of the hair or where it's going. I'm just coloring it in randomly. Doesn't really work when you're dealing with hair. One of the reasons is because it actually flattens the hair. It flattens the entire shape. And when you're trying to bring life and show that this is a bit of a 3-dimensional shape here, this is a 3-dimensional person. Also, I have just gone ahead and colored in the whole lot. Like I've just gone woo, 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 filled in all those white spaces, which I do tell my kids to do. I don't like white spaces left, but it's a bit of a problem. I'm not taking into account that hair is lots of strands. How do you get rid of this? How do you kind of fix this situation? To a point you can fix it. Ideally, you'd actually rub the whole lot out and start again. I'm sorry, I need to be firm on that. If you're like, nah, I'm not gonna rub this whole thing out. I'm gonna try and fix it. Here's how you can fix it. Number one, you need to figure out where is your light source coming from, because the light is something that will help to bring life to your picture so that you can get some of that 3D look going on. So for me, I'm going to say that my light source is coming in from about this angle, okay? Mr. Sun is over here and it's shining that way. So I'm going to grab my little eraser, which I modified last week. Please watch that video if you haven't already. And now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add some light sources, okay? Light source to my picture. So on the top of the head here, I'm going to use the edge of this eraser and bring some highlights in. And because the hair curves around the head and goes down, I'm also going to lighten up some area over here and over here. And I'm going to lighten up some of this area over here too. And notice how I'm using the eraser. It's like I'm flicking it. And you can only do this if you've got quite a sharp eraser. You can further edit this if you want to go back in there with a HB pencil probably, and I'm going to show you how you can actually help to indicate that the individual strands, and I'm going to do this on a separate piece. This is just one way that you can maybe fix your work if you've kind of gone too far. You need to pull back and add some of those highlights back into your hair. Now I'm going to show you an alternate method to do your hair. And this is going to make it look a little bit more realistic. It does require a little bit more of your time, but it will make the difference. So here we go. I've got a blank picture of just, I don't know who this is, Jane Doe. So Jane needs some shading happening to her hair, and I have a few students who really enjoy doing hair, and it takes them quite a long time to do a really excellent job. I just advise you to not rush the process, because if you want to get something looking really real, then you need to take your time. We are going to use a number of pencils for this particular drawing. We're going to be using HB, 2B, 4B and a 6B, which should all be in your kit. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to go in there first with our HB. We're going in light. Light to start with. And I'm doing marks on my page that are, as I said, I'm considering the flow of the hair and the shape of the head, which means that my marks on my page are rounded. Okay, they're rounded, they're curved, they're individual, okay? And I'm considering where is the hair coming from. So like this bit that's poked behind her ear here, it sort of comes from the crown of her head and comes down, okay? And then this hair that's falling behind her ear, I'm taking it from behind the ear and dragging my pencil down the page in a curved way to sort of indicate that it's coming from behind her ear. And then as I get towards this part of the head, I'm starting to kind of join these hairs up a little bit. And I'm going really super duper light. It's important at this stage that you do go light, because our aim is to take our time, and we want to make sure that we have highlights in here and that we're giving ourselves room to build. Okay, now over this side here, same situation. Short, sharp marks on the page that are curved, quite rounded. And it's okay if you're a little bit outside the lines when it comes to this bit, because hair doesn't generally sit perfectly unless she's like a model or something. Okay. I wonder how many of you are doing a better job than me. Also, you can have some little flyaways on top, because that's pretty typical. Man, that is my life. Frizzy flyaways, and even some little flyaways in front, or however you want to style your person's hair. Okay? This is like our first layer. If you're considering your light source, if you feel like you've kind of gone a little bit too dark in some areas, it's okay. You can pull them back. So you can get in there with, again, the corner of your hard eraser and just pull back a little bit. So I wouldn't go too hardcore with the erasing. just because you're trying to be realistic. If you're trying to go for anime hair, then that definitely has huge gappy bits in there, like lightning strikes across their heads and stuff. We're not really aiming for anime hair with this particular picture. Next up, we're going to go in with our 2B. We're going to gradually get darker and darker. Now, I'm not aiming for like pure black hair here. I'm sort of thinking she's probably more of a brunette. So that's what I'm aiming for with my coloring. If you're doing a blonde haired person, there's still depth there, okay? And so you will still be using gradual increments of different pencils, but you probably might only go up to like a 2B or a 4B, even if you're not doing color here, but you can give the impression that this is someone who has lighter colored hair or darker colored hair or black hair. We've got like the general idea of where all of our strands of hair are, and now we're going back in with our 2B and we're doing those marks. Now I know where my highlighted areas are, and this time I'm not really going to go over them too much. Just a little bit. I'm going to eat into them just a little bit, but not very much. And I do want to get sort of a very slight jagged look to my drawing. So that means that on either side of those highlights, I'm going to flick towards it. I'm flicking, flick, flick, flick towards the highlight. And then once I've done that, I can start to bring it down, bring that color down, that shading. If you do this, tag me, okay? Gold Coast Art School, hashtag Gold Coast Art School. You can tag us on Instagram or even let me know down in the comments below, because I want to know, is yours better than mine? I'm telling you not to rush, but I've just been looking at my clock and we have a class very soon and some of our kids get here before class time, so I'm starting to freak out. So I'm going to move on to the next one here, but I want to see your work. I want to see, can you do better than me? Okay, we're going to move on to the next pencil now, and I want to offer just one more tip. Sharpen your pencils, okay? You're not going to get that fine hair if you've got a blunt pencil. If you can almost like poke your finger with it, you're good. So now we're going in with our 4B. Same thing again. We are building up the layers in the same way. We're adding more and more depth. You're doing a little bit less each time. You're not aiming to go all the way over all of your hard work. You're holding back a little bit more each time. So with each layer that you put on, you're actually putting on less. This time, I am going to gently start in the middle here. You're just trying to build up more depth. And as you do that, as you apply that, these highlighted areas are just going to pop. Fun fact, how you're applying these marks on your page for the hair right now in these flicky strokes, that's how you do grass. That's how you do grass. This is how you apply animal fur. Okay, I get a lot of kids who like to draw their pets, or they like to draw other animals like bears and cats and dogs and things, and this is how you do it. We're up to our last one. We're going with an 6B, teeny tiny 6B. 6B is quite dark. And the thing about it as well is that the darker that the lead gets, the softer it is, but also the harder it is to remove. So if you've been doing all of this and you're like, oops, I made a mistake, hopefully you'll be able to kind of get in there and erase a little bit of it. But if you're working with something like 4B and 6B, it's going to end up being a little bit tricky to erase. I kind of feel like I could have done a bit better over here. What do you reckon? To me, the shadowing there doesn't look quite right. So if I had time, I would probably kind of come back into this and I would fix this, because to me that that highlighting there doesn't really make sense. There we go. We have some hair on our page that actually looks realistic, I think, except for that bit over there. I really could have done a bit of a better job, but when you're looking at the whole picture, have a look. That, okay, compared to that. That compared to that. I think it's a bit of an improvement. Did you like this video? Please give it a thumbs up if you did. I know you probably hear people do that all the time, but it actually does make a difference and it really helps us out. We also just hit 100 subscribers on our channel, woo, which is really exciting. So if you want to subscribe, we'd love to have you here on board so you can get some free content just like this every single week. Let us know in the comments below what you thought. Do you have any suggestions for future videos? My dad is going to do some videos as well in the coming weeks, which is really cool. He has a heck of a lot more years experience than I do and can present some really cool things to you that even if you're a teen, you will get something out of it. I absolutely promise you. So thank you so much, everyone. I look forward to catching you next week. We'll see you then. Bye.